Okay, so the car is finally on the floor because I need my lifts so to work over a client's car. Probably the guys that have workshops know how it is. So I am pretty much finished with all the wiring for the engine bay. By that I mean for all the sensors. And right now we are wiring up the OBD2 port. And here is my OBD2 port which I am using. So on pin 7 I should route one wire which I have already done. It's going to be this wire, which is going to go on pin 7. So this is going to be for K bus, I believe it was called. I'm going to start on pin 7 so to be able to read the fault codes on the engine ECU. Without it I'm not going to know what is happening, so that's why I'm going to use this wire for this. So I'm going to connect it somewhere here, and if I need to read my ABS or some other unit on the car, I'm going to need to swap the wire, because right now on pin 7 I have the link communication. If I want to read the ECU, I'm going to need a K-bus communication, so it's a different communication lines and I cannot swap them in together because it's going to make a mess in the car. So if I need to read my ABS, I'm going to swap the wires so to be able to read the ECU. Probably going to do some switch or something like that. Okay, so just going to walk you through what I'm doing to make this ECU work with the E36. So right now I have connected my cable on my OBD port and I'm using MMS washer, which is paid. I think this was $69 or something like that. I have decided to read the full memory of the ECU and only the tune, which on MS41 it's called partial read. So there is a full and partial read, and in the partial read you have the tune, let's say the tables. And as you can see, we have certain amounts of times to read up the ECU, and after that it's going to get locked. But with this program you're going to be able to erase this from here. Still I don't need it because I have 24 times. So I have read it, so let me show you. So this is my full read, which is 512 kilobytes, and the tune read is 32. If you have MSS54 HP, it's going to be the double the amount, so 1024 kilobytes, and the tune is going to be 64 kilobytes. So because mine is not HP, it's less. I have done already my modification. I'm going to show you quickly how it's done. There is a really cool tutorial about this, just going to show you quickly. So already I have flashed it, so where it is, yeah, here it is. So as we can see, V2, so version 2. So as we can see, task finished. So let me show you what I have done quickly. Okay, I'm doing it here because for some reason on my laptop the Tuner Pro doesn't want to launch up. I tried several things but still I cannot do it, so I managed to do it on this PC. So let me open up the thing. Okay, this is the V2 version, and first of all you're going to need these files. I'm going to put a link up below where you can get them. Once again, there is a really cool tutorial, more detailed how to do it. I'm just going to quickly show you what I'm doing. So I'm loading up this, and after that we're going to see that we have all the DTCs that the ECU can set up, and by this you're going to be able to remove them from the memory, let's say. So if I want to remove this fault code, I'm just going to click apply patch, and yeah, right now it's not saying it, but if I go once again, it's patched. I'm not exactly sure how to redo this because I don't have the remove patch button, not sure why, but doesn't matter. But the most important things is from this swap DTC. So pretty much probably 100 of this should be patched. Let's say DTML, this is for the few gases or something like that, which is patched. The SMG CAN bus, once again I'm not using SMG, so I have removed it. And the other thing which is really important is here. So where it was, comments, yeah, it's from in type. So here it is, the most important thing, patches. So as you can see, EVS and disassembling of this SAP was for the secondary air pump, I believe. Cut is for the catalytic converters. As you can see, mine is patched. But why I haven't patched this? Probably I have forgot. Probably going to need to do it once again because it's stating not patched. So I'm going to need to redo this, I guess. But pretty much this is the idea. This is all the rest. Here I believe was the ref limiter. For now I'm going to keep it 1100. What else? Yeah, no, it wasn't here. Yeah, gearbox type, because I want to remove the SMG option. The 03 is manual, so this is what I have done. I have removed the SMG option, and yeah, just show the software version. This is mine, as you can see here. The last 8 bits from the software version is going to be your version. Yeah, mine is this. So once again, Euro 3 SMG. Just to show that this software version means something, the like Japan version, low compression. So this probably in Japan going to suck, but yeah, this is how it is. So pretty much this is quickly what I'm doing. I'm just modifying the things. I'm removing the gear position sensor. Yeah, these bits here are for the cruise control. And pretty much this is it. The most important thing is to remove the SMG, to remove the EVS, to remove the rear O2 sensors, and to increase the RPM limiter, of course. So now I'm going to continue with the struggle, and in the end of the video, hopefully this engine is going to start. Okay, so the oil cooler lines, I'm going to show the difference between the E46 and the E36 one. So this is for the E36, and this is the part number. Yeah, this is it. I have bought new oil radiator, which is NRF, it's not OEM one. Yeah, I think this is the number. And actually, I believe on the TDS, E36 TDS, the diesel version, you have pretty much the same radiator as on the M3. So this is it. This is how it looks like. This is where it's connecting. So this is how it came with this plastic flange. As we can see, they are pretty different from the E46 one. As you can see, here is straight and here we have a curvature, probably because of the alternator, I believe. And I have bought, to be able to install this, this board, yeah, the O-rings, which yeah, I cannot give you the part number because they are sitting for a long time. So 4 O-rings. This is the bolts which are connecting the oil lines, and this is the sleeve which goes. So this is how it looks like, and it should go here like that. So this is to not break the plastic when you tighten it up. And now, before that, yeah, I'm going to need to do some modification to this plastic of the alternator because it's on my way here, so I'm going to need to cut it a little bit. Because yeah, I'm not going to use this alternator cooling ducting. I'm going to leave it like that, so it's not end of the world. So let me do it, and after that I'm going to show you the assembly process. Still, actually, I don't have a flange for holding this here, but probably later on I'm going to figure out something. Okay, so pretty much this is it. I have cut the vent of the alternator. Yeah, it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's going to work. It has a lot of clearance. And yeah, this is installed. Once again, I'm going to need to figure out some bracket here to hold the hoses here to be more stable. And this is the radiator. Yeah, probably later going to go with a bigger one than this, but for startup I'm going to run the OEM size. But before we figure out the bracket, I'm going to need to install the coolant radiator, because as we know, the oil radiator is attached to the coolant radiator. By that we're going to determine the exact position of this oil radiator, and then we're going to decide how to figure out the bracket, because right now I can go everywhere. So yeah, it moves here. I haven't completely tightened up the bolts because first I want to figure out the bracket and then I'm going to tighten it up. Okay, so now I have installed the hydraulic lines. I just need to install the hydraulic reservoir, but before that I'm going to install the dipstick. The owner of the engine didn't send me the dipstick with this plate which is holding the dipstick, plus This is the O-ring for the dipstick. This is the washer. This dipstick has a washer. This is the part number of it. And yeah, I bought the nut which is holding everything. Okay, so all the sensors. This is once again the oil pressure sensor for the dashboard. This is the oil temperature sensor. Once again, probably going to install it on the dashboard because I have modification to it which is going to show me the exact oil temperature. And this is the oil pressure for the gauge. And I need to modify a little bit the sleeve which I showed you in the beginning. I made it a little bit longer because the body of the oil filter housing were on my way underneath here. So yeah, I made it a little bit longer in different design. So now all of them are set up. And what else? Yeah, I installed the oil dipstick. It's kind of wobbly. I was expecting to be more snug, but yeah, this is how it is. As we can see, the washer underneath and the plate which is holding it. So yeah, I guess it's going to be that like that, and I guess that's why the O-ring is so big. Yeah, I have poked in this hole here. Originally we had here this was installed there previously. If I remember right, this was for the CCV system, the return which goes back to the open, which I'm not going to use. I'm going to use as external CCV system with catch can. So I'm going to remove all of the CCV parts. Okay, so a little bit of experimenting. I decided to install the manual oil pressure gauge, which is here, analog one I think it's called, and the gauge from the video, which is right now connected to the sensor here. I just put the rack here if this starts leaking oil. I started cracking up to see what's happening, and I was not gaining any pressure at all. And I was like, what is happening? And then I saw the video that is moving, and this is not moving. And after that I saw that I have installed the wrong gauge, which is to 100 bars. So yeah, this is not going to move for sure. Right now the smaller gauge is not in me, it is in one of my colleagues. I borrowed to him, so I need to take it. I hope that this is showing right. So let me show you. I'm going to crank up the engine. Everything is assembled as we saw. I have put oil. Yeah, for the initial run I'm going to use Moto 5W40. So the engine is full with oil. I have put some oil in the oil filter housing. Let me show you. Right now the spark plugs are not installed with the coils. So let me show you what pressure we are gaining. So I'm just going to touch this cable to the positive wire, and the starter is going to rotate it. So let's give it a try. Okay, and it's a long crank until we get 1 bar, but for sure the system should be filled with oil, and I'm confident to install the spark plugs and the coils now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that I can assemble all the rest things to try to see is it going to start. Hopefully yes. And yeah, don't forget this ground cable, which I done in the beginning. Okay, so after a little bit of struggling I managed to do the wiring. Not exactly, if you look how everything looks like. So now I'm going to use 2 wires, these ones. So this wire here is the original wire which powers up the fuel pump, which right now is the original fuel pump from the E36, and this one is for the ECU. This is the power supply for the after ignition. So I'm just going to connect them to the power supply here on this nut. So first of all, let me connect it. I'm just going to place them like that to touch the nut, and after that I'm going to remove this just a tiny bit like that. I'm going to connect the power supply. And yeah, I have connected the electrical pedal, and as we can see, it works. So let's give it a try. So let's see what's going to happen. And it runs. Sounds decent. Tiny bit of oil pressure. So yeah, just going to disconnect it and it starts out directly. So yeah, I managed to start up this after the removal of the EVS and little bit play with the wiring. The only thing that is a good info for you guys that are struggling, there is a wire which you can use to connect a relay for the fuel pump. On the Euro version you can do this, connect a regular relay for the fuel pump, and I believe it was this wire which is on this POC X6004 on pin 10. This is providing ground signal to the relay for the fuel pump, which I'm probably going to use this control wire for the fuel pump relay, so to control my fuel pump. If you have a US version control unit, you're probably not going to be able to do it. You're going to need a different relay which is with pulse width modulated signal, so you're not going to be able to do this, but your version is much more easier because the signal is constant. The ground signal, control ground signal is constant, so it's a little bit easier. When you're doing this, don't forget to cock up this here for the brake booster. And yeah, the engine can run without the air mass meter. I'm still struggling with my alternator. I had some issues, but I don't want to bore you with this. Okay, so after starting up, now it's time to figure out the coolant system. For this, I have bought Mishimoto radiator, Mishimoto cooling fan with the shroud. And yeah, I have decided to buy the hoses because this is the most failure points as usual, with some clamps. And yeah, I decided to use the OEM coolant reservoir from E46, so I bought a brand new one. This stainless steel line I'm going to use for the overflow, I think it was called, which goes from the top of the radiator to this point of the reservoir. So I just going to need to bend it and probably going to need to weld it, because on the radiator the diameter is 10 millimeters and on the coolant is 8 millimeters. So I'm going to need to do welding from 8 to 10 millimeter, so to make it in one piece. I don't want to make it with a lot of clamps. Okay, so I started reassembling the front of the car, and let me show you. This is the fan with the shroud and everything provided from Mishimoto. So they have provided 4 bushings which are attached with bolts, small bolts, shorter than this, but like these ones. So 2 on the bottom and 1 here and 1 also here. So as you can see, this is facing the radiator side and this is facing the engine side. So 4 bushings in total. Now I'm going to try to aim it in these threads here. And here, this is for, I'm not going to use this because my expansion tag is going to be located here, and I'm not going to use the M62 TU or M54 type of coolant reservoir, so I'm not going to need to use this bracket and also this, which should be installed here for holding the coolant reservoir in place. So I'm not going to use these ones. I'm not sure, maybe I can cut this if it makes me some issues, but for sure I'm not going to use it. So just to show you, I don't know guys, it doesn't look really cool. Yeah, this is not going to make the shroud move backward and forward, but I don't know, it looks kind of self-made. I don't like this idea with these rubber things. When they fail, it's going to move. It's not going to fall, but I was expecting something more professional from Mishimoto. And actually I cannot tighten up this bolt fully, because if you look closer, we have some debris left in the threads. So I'm going to need to use a tap, I think it was called, to redo the thread. And the typical disappointment with the premium products. Nothing I can say no more. So as usual, nothing is plug and play. Even the premium products sucks. So yeah, the Mishimoto radiator doesn't want to fit exactly in the places, the original places where the original E36 radiator should be placed. So they haven't welded correctly the guides for the radiator, and now they are a little bit stretched and the radiator doesn't want to go in the slots where the original radiator is placed. So yeah, Mishimoto, you sucks. So just show you what I mean. So this is the guiding sleeves, I think I can call them, and here we install the bushings, the original bushings from E36. These bushings should go here and here, and right now, because these sleeves are curved, I cannot install the radiator. So yeah, this is the first radiator that Mishimoto is doing for E36. I don't know, but really disappointing. Nothing goes as is planned, so it's getting frustrating. Okay, so just to show you the update how I managed to install it. I know it's going to look ugly, but this is the only solution that I found out. I have cut the bushings. Let me take it. So this is how much I needed to cut it on the both sides. It's cut it also here. This is the only way that I managed to install it. And yeah, I tried to curve this to bend it over, so to try to install it, but still I didn't have enough room. So the only solution I came with was to cut the bushings so to be able to install it, and now it's snug. And the other thing which I found issues with is with the installation of these holes. Originally this diffuser was straight here, but I need to cut it so to be able to install the holes. As we can see how close it goes to the diffuser. Previously, because it was straight, yeah, right now as we can see I have painted it. Because it was straight, there were not enough room, the holes to go through around the diffuser. So that's why I made this arch here, so to have enough room to make the holes go through. So yeah, pretty much this is it. As usual, it's not plug and play. And yeah, don't forget to tighten up this plug for draining, because mine was loose. Okay, so just to show you the coolant system, both coolant hoses are connected. Yeah, the bottom one is maybe just a smidge longer. Once again, these hoses are both for E36, and as you know, this is engines from E46, and I believe this is a little bit different design than the E36 one. That's why this hose is a little bit curved here, but I think it's going to work out. It should not cause issues. But yeah, everything is connected. This is the thermo switch which I'm going to use. I believe it was between 81 and 90 degrees to power on the fan. For now I'm going to run it only in one position, which means full potential. And yeah, I have connected the hoses for the heater core in the interior. So this is the layout. This is the original hose from the engine. This both are from the E36, which are connected here, as we can see, and this hose, which one? This one up here is connected underneath here. So yeah, I just cut it. This was the rest of the hose which I have cut it. So yeah, it was kind of long, so yeah, I made it shorter. And pretty much this is all the layout for the hoses. The only thing that's left to install the coolant reservoir from the E46, and after that this overflow, I believe, hose it was, or something like that. For the instrument cluster, I'm going to use this instrument cluster with mileage, which is from England, I believe. And I'm just going to use this to make it in kilometers. I prefer to be like that, of course. So I'm going to replace this, so to remove the mileage, and I'm going to install it. Yeah, I'm using this especially because of the RPM. As you can see, I don't have a temperature for the oil, but this is because I'm using gauge S here, which is going to show me digitally the temperature of the coolant and the oil temperature, but I'm not going to show this right now. Okay, so a little bit of update. I have filled up the car with coolant, with hydraulic fluid. Yeah, I'm using just OEM coolant G11, and this is the OEM hydraulic fluid which BMW uses, the green one. Yeah, really OEM holder for the coolant reservoir, but I'm a little bit on a rush. Just wanted to show you what gauges and how I'm going to set them up. So this is the gauges. I just bought this gauge holder from I believe it was from USA, pretty good quality. So yeah, this is how they're going to be set up, the both IEM wideband sensors, and in the middle is the pressure sensor. Yeah, I cannot set it up other than this because the IEM gauges are a little bit thicker and I cannot put them side by side, so this is the only way I can set it up with one thinner gauge in the middle. So yeah, I'm going to need to supply them with power and ground, and pretty much this is where I'm at. I have changed the battery with some smaller one. So I have took the smallest battery that I think is going to run with this engine. So this is 45 amps and 440 starting amps. So yeah, it works out, but if you have some battery drain, for sure it's going to kill it pretty fast. But for my case it's going to work out. It cranks strong, and the car actually starts up pretty quick, so I don't have issues with this. And yeah, now I'm going to need to try to connect the thermo switch. I'm going to need to supply the fan with power and ground, and yeah, this is the wires which I'm going to need to connect. Now the more important thing is to figure out some intake for the engine, because I cannot install the original intake filter, so I'm going to need to figure out some code intake system here. So yeah, I have bought this kind filter for this. This is what I took. There are part number, yeah, underneath here. So the diameter of this is roughly 100 millimeters. So I have took pretty much the same diameter for the air filter, and just going to need to figure out some connection between here and the filter. The thing that I need to figure out for sure, something to hold the oil cooler. So I'm going to figure out something, but for now it's with zip ties. So quickly just show you the brackets which we figured out. Peter have fabricated. So this is the both brackets which is going to hold the oil cooler to the coolant radiator. So we have drilled some hoses to hold them with bolts. So now I'm going to install it, and you're going to see how it looks like. We're going to attach it to this thread which was existing on this core. So let's see how it looks like. So this is how it looks like. This bracket is holding on this end of the core, and this on the other end, with welded nut on the top, which is tightened up with this bolt. So in the both ends it is hot, and we have clearance between the water cooled radiator and the oil cooled radiator. So it's not, we are not going to need any rubber between it. Okay, so now we're going to install the bushings of the gearbox, and here I'm going to use the Black Series Powerflex. So let me try to remove one of it. So this is how they look like. This is the stiffest one that you can go with, and the biggest reason that I'm going with this is because right now my fan, which we showed previously, is pretty close to the water pump, and that's why I want to have stiffer gearbox mountings, because this is going to drastically reduce the movement of the engine backward and forward. Here with the normal rubber bushings is going to move a lot. I really hope that this is going to make it a little bit stiffer, and yeah, I don't hate my life. That's why I don't want to use a Powerflex engine mountings, because if you go with this, you're going to have some crazy vibrations inside the car. That's why I don't want to go with polyurethane engine mountings. I'm just going to try with the gearbox ones, and hopefully they're going to do the job. And with the Powerflex installed. So a little bit of update. I have driven last night the car for around 500 meters, and the alternator is out once again. So I had some issues with it. I don't know what is happening, but it's making some strange noises and it's not charging as it's supposed to be. I'm thinking that because we have combined two housings from different alternators, probably that's why it's curving, or something is happening, because from time to time when I'm rotating, the pulley is binding hard, and I start rotating it pretty hard, and I guess that's why it's making these noises. I decided to throw out this, and I don't want to spend any more time figuring out this alternator. I know it's lightweighted, but because I'm a little bit on a rush, I'm going to go with this bigger one, and I'm going to use the normal pulley, because I want to be sure that the car is charging, because even when this didn't make sound, still it was not charging as it's supposed to be. Car was struggling with around 12 volts. When I was pressing the accelerator, it was catching up, but it's not going to work out for me. So I'm going to modify once again this, and I'm going to install it. It's beefier, it's bigger, hopefully it's going to charge good enough. And the other thing that I have issues with, last night when I turned off the car, I didn't want to start up once again. So yeah, it turns out that one of my pins fall down inside. So as you can see, the upper one is a little bit shorter than the bottom one. For some reason it fall down inside the basket. So I'm going to need to remove it once again, because last night I removed it to try to install the Bosch 044 fuel pump, but it turns out that I think it's impossible. So I'm probably going to go with Walbro. And yeah, now I'm going to install this alternator, and hopefully it's going to fix my issues, and the car is going to be without any charging issues. I'm just going to need to figure out the exact length of the belt, because previously it was running with 1570, so now because of the smaller pulley I'm going to need to run shorter belt. So okay guys, I don't remember where I ended up filming this saga, but now I'm going to show you how the engine sounds, how it starts and everything else. Yeah, I'm still going to need to figure out some things. I'm going to work out some better looking holes for the coolant tank, and yeah, I'm still working out over the bracket which is going to hold the coolant tank. This is the air filter which we're going to need to do a bracket somewhere here so to not wiggle like that all the time. Yeah, the catch tank, as you can see here, I have attached it. I have used radium catch tank. Once again, we're going to need to fabricate some bracket. Still it vents here, but actually it doesn't smell in the interior or something like that, even without this shield here. So it's doing a great job, I think. Yeah, this is the wideband cables which are going to go inside here when I'm sure that the wiring and everything else is in good shape, and I'm not going to do anything else with the wiring. Let me show you how it sounds. As from my research, these engines are a little bit more noisier than the typical M52 and M54. Yeah, right now the engine is hot actually, but doesn't matter. So oops. It starts up pretty quick actually. And actually even the fan is running right now. I have installed a thermo switch on 80 degrees, as the thermostat is once again on 80 degrees. Actually I have made around 500 kilometers with this car already, and it's doing a pretty good job, except that I still have issue with the fuel, because my fuel pump is too weak for this engine, and I even had an issue with the fuel pump with my 2.8 liter. So I'm driving like that because from time to time I need to hit my pump so to crank up the car, because it's so bad that from time to time it stops. So I'm still waiting for my pump, and then I'm going to show you some acceleration and stuff, but for now with this fuel pump I don't have enough power and the car is struggling. I'm now going to replace once again my alternator. I'm going to give one more chance with my smaller alternator, and yeah, just wanted to show you how it sounds. Let me do a few reps just for you guys. Probably you're not going to hear anything. I'm going to put you on a camera stand. Okay, let's give it a try. So hey guys, I'm going to end up the swap saga here, and when I figure out everything I'm going to do some separate videos about how it drives, how it accelerates. We're going to do some drag tests, of course. We're going to see how it sounds, and yeah, I'm going to post a video about the super sprint installation, and I'm going to show you the sound, but for now I'm going to do it in a separate video. So pretty much this was it about this swap and rebuild on this BMW S54 engine. Once again, in the next series I'm going to show you some more interesting footage, I'm sure about it, guys. I know this is boring series for 99% of the people which are subscribers to my channel. Yeah, in the next videos we're going to do drag tests between some interesting cars. You're going to see what is the real output of this car. So okay guys, thank you for watching, and we're going to see each other really soon in the next videos.